You find a used Honda Accord online for $7,400. The price looks right. The body is clean. You take it for a test drive and the engine sounds smooth, no ticks, no rattles, no warning lights. You buy it. 3 weeks later, the engine seizes on the highway and a mechanic tells you the repair bill is $4,800. That engine was already destroyed before you ever sat in the driver's seat. And the person who sold it to you spent about $5 to make sure you'd never know. Right now, used car prices are still elevated across most markets. Buyers are stretching their budgets harder than ever, and private sellers know it. According to industry sources, the volume of private used car sales has increased significantly over the last 3 years. And with that growth comes a rise in deceptive practices that most buyers have never even heard of. This isn't a rare scam. Mechanics who work in high-volume markets say they see evidence of it regularly, and most of the time, the buyer already signed the paperwork before anyone found out. If you want to know exactly how sellers pull this off, and more importantly, how you stop it from happening to you, subscribe right now. Every week on this channel, we put out information that dealerships and private sellers would genuinely prefer you never find out. Here's what actually happens under that hood. When an internal combustion engine, whether it's a Toyota Camry, a Ford F-150, or a BMW 3 Series, starts to suffer serious internal damage, the most common symptom is a sound called rod knock. It's a deep, rhythmic banging noise that comes from the bottom of the engine. It means the connecting rods, which link your pistons to the crankshaft, have worn bearings that are no longer holding proper clearance. Metal is hitting metal on every single rotation. That engine is not fixable with maintenance. It needs a full rebuild or replacement, and that cost typically runs anywhere from $3,000 to over $7,000 depending on the vehicle. Now here's what a dishonest seller does about 30 to 60 minutes before you show up. They pour a high-viscosity oil additive products like Lucas Oil Stabilizer or similar thick chemical treatments directly into the engine oil. These products are sold at any auto parts store for around $5. What they do is increase the thickness of the oil film between moving metal parts. That thicker film temporarily cushions the worn bearings enough to dampen or completely silence the knocking sound. The engine oil light stays off. The temperature gauge reads normal. And when you rev it in the driveway, it sounds totally fine. According to automotive engineers familiar with this technique, the masking effect can last anywhere from 20 minutes to a few hours, just long enough for a test drive and a handshake. The reason this works so well is that most buyers test drive a car for less than 15 minutes. You don't push it hard. You're focused on the interior, the air conditioning, how the brakes feel. You're not listening for a specific low-frequency knock that only fully reveals itself when the engine is cold or when it's been running under load for a while. The seller knows exactly how long the window lasts, and they time it perfectly. Some sellers go even further. They add a product like Blue Devil or similar engine oil stop leak treatments, which thicken the oil even more and can temporarily reduce the consumption of oil that a damaged engine burns through. A bad engine might normally burn a quart of oil every 400 miles, a clear red flag. With an additive in place, that rate slows down just enough that you wouldn't notice anything unusual during a short test drive. So how do you protect yourself? The first thing you do costs you nothing. Before the test drive, ask to watch the cold start. Show up earlier than agreed, or ask the seller to leave the car parked and untouched until you arrive. A cold engine one that hasn't been running for at least 4 hours will reveal damage that a warmed-up, additive-treated engine will hide. If the seller refuses, or if the car is already warmed up when you get there, treat that as a serious red flag and walk away. The second thing you do is spend $100 to $150 on a pre-purchase inspection at an independent mechanic, not a shop recommended by the seller. A trained technician will put the car on a lift, pull the oil dipstick and check the consistency and color, look for signs of oil sludge or unusual additive residue, and listen to the engine under controlled conditions. According to data from automotive consumer advocacy groups, Buyers who get a pre-purchase inspection before purchasing a used vehicle are significantly less likely to face major mechanical repairs in the first 90 days of ownership. That 150 has saved people 5,000. The third move is to pull an oil sample. Some independent mechanics and mail-in services like Blackstone Laboratories will analyze your oil sample for metal particles for around 30. If an engine has serious internal wear, the oil will contain elevated levels of iron, copper, and lead metals that come directly off worn bearings. No additive in the world can hide what's already dissolved into the oil. This test gives you hard data, not just impressions. One more thing you need to know. This trick is not limited to cheap beaters. Industry sources say it has been used on vehicles in the $15,000 to $25,000 price range, pre-owned Audi A4s, Mercedes C-Class sedans, even some Toyota Tacoma trucks. The higher the price, the more motivated a dishonest seller is to cover up the damage and get out clean. Do not assume that a nice-looking car with a clean interior is automatically safe. The engine doesn't care how good the car looks from the outside. Before you go, here's something worth thinking about. If a seller times your arrival to make sure the engine is already warm or gets nervous when you ask for a cold start, what else are they hiding about that car? Drop your answer in the comments below. Have you ever bought a car that turned out to have hidden damage? Tell us what happened, because your story might save someone else from making the same mistake. If this video kept a single dollar in your pocket, the least you can do is hit subscribe. We put out new content every week on exactly this kind of information, the stuff that protects your money before you ever sign your name on anything.